Understanding your communication style. Tom's speech title is May Your Water Be Served Wet Enough. In the just as an introduction to Tom, in the world of communications, awareness is the key. When you find yourself in a safe environment, to be an observer and being very aware, you will be surprised with what the world serves up to you. Today, Tom will recount an amazing breakfast on a cruise trip. Let's see if you recognize any of the characters and notice their communication style. We give you Tom, the man in the hat.
Yeah. Tell them what's going on.
Okay, I'm handing the mic.
You're hooked on the bottom, Margie. Cable, please. There we go. Now, do we have an audio at this time? Margie, we're still hooked. There you go. You gotta have it over the box, please. Over the top. There, over the top of that. That's what. Sorry. So we're gonna restart that just for the grins. So the audio is better. All right. Restart. For me, I've traveled on many cruise ships and the joys are wonderful. However, some of the times are, well, some of you have heard about eating a lot on a cruise ship, and it's the buffet that you can go to, 17 times a day. Well, my personal choice is to avoid the buffets. Go to the main dining hall. They'll have breakfast, often lunch, and certainly dinner is available. You'll always have a nice menu you can order from, and it's appropriately portioned. So good all the way around. So my choice, and this was about 2007. I was Southern Caribbean. Yeah, kind of like the picture behind me. Early morning breakfast. And typically they'll fill up one table with everybody who comes in. You don't have to sit in a certain area, and you'll get a chance to meet new people. This morning I made it to, and they'd already filled a full table. So they started a new one with me. Happy to. Felipe, he was my server, my waiter, and he, right away, he knew I liked good coffee in the morning. No milk, no cream, just coffee. Coffee is coffee, not other stuff. It's coffee. Well, I like to have my coffee. And his assistant, Joshua, he was close by with the biggest cart of croissants and Danish, and certainly I had one. I'm looking out. I love the Southern Caribbean view out the back windows. I could almost smell it, but the windows were closed, but it's there, the ocean sea. Well, soon they brought another couple to join and fill the table, which is marvelous, a chance to meet other people while on the cruise. Marcia and John, they came to sit down with me. And just as they got there, my omelet was served and it was sizzling, still too hot to eat yet. My coffee had never got below about halfway before it was promptly refilled and nice and hot. Marcia and John joined and announced that their friends were joining as well. They were just a little bit behind, but they would join us at the table. Marcia ordered coffee and she held the cup up there and told Felipe, "Oh, about that full. I just need about a little bit of a cup. And then the rest fill it with cream, not milk." Well, she never pointed at the same spot at any time as Felipe tried to fill the cup. I just kind of ignored and went on. She was smiling a lot, very engaged. My omelet cool enough to eat and enjoy the coffee. It was marvelous. My Danish plate disappeared quickly. Marcia ordered Eggs nice and frothy. She told Felipe, make my eggs nice and frothy, just like yesterday, because he did it that way for me. She pointed across the room to another server and said, well, he did it that way for me yesterday. You just go ask him how it was done. Felipe said, ma'am, I'll do the best we can. I'm sure we'll make a very nice egg dish for you. But then her husband sat down and started noting that the butter was too cold and the toast was too hot. I thought in my brain, maybe you could, well, I enjoyed my omelet and encouraged to enjoy my coffee and continued on. Yes, the other couple did finally get there. And he noted about all the napkins being folded to the left instead of the right. Well, I'm sorry. I enjoyed my ocean view. They continued to have their breakfast and proceed as they went. My omelet, even to the last bit, still sizzling, and the mushrooms sneaking out. The coffee, it never got below half filled on mine. John commented his waffle got there and he flipped it out onto the table saying, I really wanted it with my eggs. It does take quite a few different people to make a world. And I realized that my face was hurting from everything that was happening. I was just smiling so much without trying to smirk. But I did anyhow, a little bit. I finished my coffee and quick before Felipe got back and filled it again. And as I rose, I turned to everybody to excuse myself and I wished them the greatest of trips. And for the rest of your trip, may your water be served wet enough. I turned and walked back out towards my cabin and looked at the beautiful ocean view. And I did have a laptop, a computer at that time, and I sat my hands on the keyboard. And a matter of moments later, the whole story was captured for me to share with you and others. I shared this story with my father, who's now passed away, so it kind of brings a nice memory for his words. I told him of the story, and he'd been on a couple of cruises by that time too, and he'd noticed it does take all kinds of people to make a world. In his most country boy voice from Arkansas, that's where he was raised, he shook his head and commented, well, they must be from upper US. Well, that was his way of giving a little bit of a gouge. But how many different ways do people communicate or lack of communicating? Even in this short little story, the lack of awareness, the lack of respect for others, maybe the directness that some of us ask. I'm a little bit direct, so people say. So communication styles do happen. Just from our actions, from our words, our voices, they can add to it. And even the fact of not holding the coffee cup at the same spot. That was a communication to Felipe. But he always smiled because he knew the end of his trip, his money and tips came from not only the nicer people, but the others as well. So I encourage you, a little bit of awareness about those around you, a little bit of awareness about how you communicate and thank and notice people. And notice how much you might enjoy your coffee when you have the Caribbean to look at.
Thanks, Tom. So now we know communicating also isn't just a lollygag. And be mindful if the guy or a lady sitting in front of you happens to be a Toastmaster, they will definitely make a speech out of it.